Welcome back to the program, everyone. My name is Jeff, otherwise known as LitecoinLeader. You have all my information here as I point to my right shoulder, which means it's right there. There we go. There's my Twitter. There's my website. There's all the stuff crawling across the bottom. That's how to get in touch with us at EconomicPreppers and myself. That's my number. You can reach out. You can reach out to the website as well. Also on Telegram. Lots of ways to get a hold of me. EconomicPreppers, and the number is probably the best. Text that number and I'll get back to you. Anyway, I'm going to talk today about mining. Now, I know this is going to be part of the series. I'm going to post a link up here of the entire Bitcoin and blockchain basics. I wanted to talk about mining because this came up in one of our recent AMAs, and I wanted to talk about it so that people understand what is mining, what does it do, what is a miner, and I have to explain. First off, it's a miner with an E, not an O. So let's get that clear. We're talking about 18 and up. Okay. Anyway, miners, they are basically fancy computers that are specialized for a particular purpose. What is that purpose? To solve a math problem. Now, miners have two functions: solving that math problem and keeping the network running and performing a service to the Bitcoin network, supporting the network itself. But most people, when you think about miners, you're thinking about the computers that are working on running the Bitcoin operating system, Bitcoin code, and trying to get rewards of Bitcoin. So let me explain how that works. Now, I've done other videos where I talked about blockchain and Bitcoin, but the Bitcoin, like this applies to any network that uses mining. For example, Litecoin mines, Dogecoin mines, Ethereum used to mine, Digibyte mines. Some of them mine a little bit differently, but the concept is the same, as that the computers that run the operating code for that particular cryptocurrency project, they get rewarded with more coins or tokens or more value for supporting the network, and there's a certain methodology that you get rewarded for. Let me explain the example for Bitcoin, because that's probably the simplest one to understand, and then other ones are basically derivative or offshoots of that particular style or method. So the way the Bitcoin network works is that there's a math problem. In the code that's written, where all the miners are computers, they are running the same system. They're running the same code. They're doing the same thing as all the other miners in the entire network. They're running the same program. Okay, so the same program. So they're given a math problem. That problem changes about every 10 minutes. And the way it works is that they're given a math problem, and you have to get an answer that's as closest to the correct answer as possible within a certain range. And it's all comes from, you have to guess an answer and stick it into the equation, and then you see what the output is and how close you are to being accurate. Now, the accuracy changes every 2 weeks. That's how they change the difficulty of the network by number of computers and miners that are running the system. But the idea is still the same. The first computer, the first miner that gets that answer within that range, with that, it's like a remainder. Think about like when you used to do 7 into 3 in math. Like there'd be a remainder, like 7 goes into 3 4 times, and then you do you bring down the 2 and so on. It's never a perfect answer. There's always a remainder. Well, the way it's a fancier math equation. I'm not going to go into the details of it, but it is. And the only way you can get an answer is by guessing a number and sticking into it and see what comes out. All right. And then what comes out, it needs to be in a certain range of accuracy. So, and you get so many guesses per second, and that's what the hash rate is. So you'll hear terms like the hash rate. Like certain miners have a certain number of terahashes per second. That's just a lot of guesses per second. And the more guesses you can make to try to get that answer, the lot more likely you are to get the reward. So whoever gets the most accurate, an answer that's accurate enough, whoever gets that answer first gets to write the next block. Okay. So that's the winner, and the winner is rewarded with more Bitcoin. And that gets cut in half every 4 years. That's the halvening event. Originally, I think it was 50 Bitcoin per block. Then 25 4 years later, then 12 and a half. Now we're at 6 1/4. And then in 2024, somewhere in the middle of April timeframe, it'll be cut to 3 1/8 Bitcoin. That'll be the reward to the miner. So the miner is just a fancy computer that's designed implicitly for this purpose. Guess and run this math problem as fast as you can with as many guesses as you can per second to try to get that answer as quickly as possible, because the first one that gets it and tells the network, here's the answer, and the network checks and said, yeah, that's a good answer, yeah, that guy wins. Like, Jeff's miner wins. So Jeff gets rewarded with, today it will be 6.25 Bitcoin. A year from now, it'll be 3.125. So anyway, that's the idea. That's how miners work. That's the idea. So the miners, they are constantly running just that. That's their entire job. They are running the network. They're supporting the network, and every miner that exists in the network creates more decentralization, more support for the network by having lots and lots of places that have lots and lots of computers that have, or at least one copy of the Bitcoin network. So if there were only miners, for example, in Texas for Bitcoin, so and a dramatic event that happened in Texas that knocked out all the power would knock out Bitcoin. But because there's Bitcoin miners in virtually all countries, and even in outer space and under mountains and everywhere you can think of, the Bitcoin network is so decentralized and so protected that even a dramatic event where like all the power is knocked out on the surface of the planet, there's still one running in outer space. So the copy of Bitcoin, as long as one's still running, the Bitcoin network continues to go. Now, this applies to other networks, again, that operate that similar methods for mining. They may run a different version of computer code or a different speed or a different method for that, but basically the same concept exists. There are miners for those projects, and the first one to get the answer for that math problem gets the reward of those tokens for that project. That's how miners work. I'll talk about staking in another video, but I wanted to give this example because you got to learn somewhere, and hopefully this is a good example for you to understand how Bitcoin mining works. What are your thoughts? What are your questions? Leave them down below. Like, comment, subscribe, watch the rest of the videos in the playlist, and I'll talk to you in the next video. Take care.